Here, I can't talk.
I just want to thank everybody out here. This community's been so much to us. If it wasn't for y'all and the love of God, we wouldn't be here right now, because it has took a toll on us. And I couldn't raise my kids no better. It couldn't have been a no better community to raise them in, with people like y'all. And most of y'all here know Bubba. I mean it when I say it. I can't describe the pain. I shouldn't have to. And Joe Houston told me when I went in, he said the season was said and done. I want y'all to go grieve and let us handle this. And I can't do that. I just can't do it. And that's what he said. But, you know, as a father, any father that this would happen to, I expect them to do what I do. You know, what else would you do if you got questions about your son? And what'd you do when they show up one night after you went there 2 days of that week to meet with him, to tell him about somebody you heard or somebody you know that's seen somebody somewhere? They're a potential witness, a good witness, but can't get in touch with him. But they do show up to put you in jail. And I just have no words for that. But he did say in his defense, he told my wife, I hadn't spoke to him since. He told my wife that he didn't have nothing to do with it. Ain't that what he said? He didn't have nothing to do with it. But I thought he was the sheriff for this county. I'm sure some of us here voted for him. And there's nothing wrong with that. You vote for who you think's going to do the best job. And I ain't beating on Joel here. I'm just, like I told people before, I'm looking at the fruits of what I find. And the fruits of what I found ain't me trying to make myself feel better. It's what I know to be true. And if it wasn't, I wouldn't say it. And there's so much it's pitiful. It's a crying shame that what I've come up upon. It's pitiful that anybody would get arrested trying to just look into their son's murder. It was murder. Ain't no way about it. I spoke with the girl the day before yesterday. She wanted to talk again. And I assume because she's getting worried. She's getting worried because people like y'all can see what's going on. Y'all wouldn't be here. You know, I know y'all love Bubba and everybody, but if nobody didn't have no questions, you know, they wouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason for this to even be. It's a crying shame that we have to even do this. And we ain't even began day one of grieving. We hadn't. And the easiest question to ask us is, how many days we woke up white crying? How many days we went to bed white crying? And we all know that, you know, how many days would you, when you lost a son or a daughter, the tears ain't stopped yet, and they won't stop. We won't even begin to heal until this investigation's over with. And then it don't matter if everybody involved gets what they deserve. It will be better, but it won't solve what they took from us. They took something God gave us. And when God gives you something, it's something can't nobody else replace. But he did give them to us, and he takes them back as he sees fit. And I love my God with all my heart. And I love my children and my wife second to that. And something's gonna happen here. If it don't, another child's gonna get killed. And it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it to nobody here. I mean, we all love our children. And with that, you know, I could go on and on about evidence and stuff. But it's the lack of, either it's the lack of or incompetence or cover up. It's one or the other. Either way, you don't take it. You know, it just takes more looking into. More. Honest, this is the bottom line though. If they work as hard, it's just like when, you know, everybody work with people who's lazy. And know how hard they work trying to get out of work. It's the same thing here. they work harder trying to cover their tracks or trying to be lazy or both than they would work if they were just outstanding people. When they look back at the end of the day saying, I done good. I done good. I helped somebody today. I've rescued a kid today. I've done this today. I've done it. And I ain't demeaning the role of a sheriff at all. I'm not. It's a tough job. And if you can do it, good. And like I said, I'm judging everybody by their fruits. I'm judging even myself. I can't tell you how many times I go to bed with a migraine. I'm bouncing everything out. I'm saying, is there anything else? I'm praying, Lord, is there anything else I ain't looking at? I told everybody, I'm a carpenter. I ain't no investigator. But so I'm telling myself and everybody else here, if I'm showing up the investigators on the scene, all but one now, the lead investigator's only said one thing to me this whole time. All depends how he falls. That's what he said to me. That's all he said. Now, I intend to speak with him pretty soon. Because he ain't spoke. That's all he said. In 2.5 months, that's all he said. And that's Mr. Jordan. And I give him, he ain't got to speak to me. He ain't got to tell me anything. But when that's all you got to say, it's time to say something else. It's not got to where I'm walking up and finding my son's check stub on the side of the road. And there's a blood stain 30 foot away. My son, like I told a lot of y'all here already, he didn't throw trash out. I told him, you put it in a bag, put it in your vehicle. Her too. That's God's footstool. Don't throw it out. And today he died, he didn't. But somebody either knocked it out when they was trying to load him, or it was placed there on purpose for me to find. Why wouldn't the cops pick it up? I know there ain't nobody here. Does anybody here, if you was, playing an investigator, would you notice a white bag 30 foot away? Would you look in it? If you was a cop, I know I would. And like I said, I'm a carpenter. I would look in it. And I prayed before I found that bag. I was rolling down that way. I said, I'm going to stop. Lord, help me look. Now, the Lord didn't say that fell out of his car. But the Lord gave me enough sense to know that was his check stub I was reading. That was Shannon's handwriting on a note in there. It was an air freshener that hung in his car that I know was his. I mean, everything in there was either hers or his. And I could go on about the bag, I don't know exactly how it got there and why it got there. But I know I found it and they were supposed to find it. And it goes on, well, that's just, there's so much more. I wish that I could share everything I got with y'all. I wish I could share every detail. But in 2.5 months I've been working on this. This is mostly what I've been doing. Even my wife's fussed at me for it. And I pulled myself away. I've seen my son before me laying there. Noticing the similarities of him and me. But having to look at his pictures that I had the mortician take because of this, I had to sit back and look at them. And trying to figure, why has he got a mark running across his face this way? And his chest is crushed in going this way.
But he got ran over by one tire. One tire is what they said. One back tire on the truck, a big truck. How can you have marks going different ways if you got ran over by one tire going one way? There's just no way. There's just no way. And the reason he was arrested, the first call that came through that night was to the sheriff's department. It was heard on a scanner, and it's been recorded. It was heard on the scanner saying they was looking for my son's body in that ditch beside Samantha Goodson's house and some other address. And another eyewitness that was there that night was at Sammy Keith Goodson's, and they heard something at Samantha's a mile down the road, somebody screaming and hollering like they were dying. They go down there on their motorcycles and see my son in the back seat of his car dying. So that's why he was arrested for going and taking pictures of those black marks. That's it.
Because if you look at it, I know if I was sheriff, I know some stuff slips by. Like I say, I ain't no dog every little thing. But if I had a family that just lost a child, yeah, I'd be damned if I'd let my deputies go out and serve him and pick him up. You know what I'm saying? I know once the judge signs something, that's got to be acted upon, but the sheriff does have, it's kind of like our House of Representatives. The Senate can't do nothing while our House bringing it forward. The Senate cannot do nothing while the House bringing it forward. Now, the sheriff's the House. And if he's got say-so, he got say-so over them warrants too. He can hold back on that warrant. Just like a sealed indictment. He could have said, look, this family's been through enough right now. We need to make sure these, you know. And I got proof. I wasn't gonna say this, but I got proof that deputies told them what charges to press to where they would hold me. And that's fine. I joke, I got a family reunion. My brother was already in. I got to see him. And I bumped with a guy that was married to a Goodson. The first time I got in there, first thing he said, you know who I am? I said, no, I don't know you, man. I'm Tina's old man. I said, good, I need to talk to you. I got a lot on Tina. Tina needs to roll on forward and tell what she knows before she's part of the overall indictment. There was a lot of people.
Valerie Roberts was there that night, and she was in the back seat with my son holding his head as he died. Why when they were, if it happened where they say it happened, that was 3 miles from our house. Why did she turn around and go all the way back to Samantha and them's house? Yeah. Why was she there if it happened at those bridges? Yeah. Why did she come to us 3 miles down the road? Yeah. And why did she not call us? We would have got him to the hospital. She rode around with him for approximately 45 minutes.
Yeah. Counting the 911
Counting
call.
the 911 call. Yeah. And she took him the long way around, ran out of gas on the interstate with him. He died in his car.
Yeah. Once she changed her mind or made their mind up to go the other way.
And we also know that Samantha Goodson had alcohol on her breath. If you run over somebody, if I accidentally went out here and drunk a beer and accidentally ran over somebody, I'd be in jail. I wouldn't be running around going to nursing school. Yeah. I'm sorry, but I'm so upset.
Yeah. And
that's my baby.
We can't share it.
I will share it all.
I know, but what I'm saying, you know, a lot of it, a lot of stuff's still going on. And I want to say something for the DA. And I also want to call Chris Hennis. I want him to take up, not only take up this case, but I'm going to go out here and say Rasheem's case too. Take a look at it if they ain't already taken a look back at it. That every time I think about our tragedy, I think about Rasheem's mother. It don't matter. It don't matter how long you had your child with. When I looked at Rasheem's picture,
he was smiling just like Bubba.
His smile, I mean, he just had that smile like Bubba does. It just a loving smile, and there's too much. There's too much going on, and like I said, they can work double time, triple time, and overtime to cover it up or whatever they want to do. They can bring deputies out and harass me. It don't matter, because I won't stop. You know, I won't. I can show you better than I can tell you too, and that's pretty much. I could think of some more stuff to tell. I just don't want to tell everything right now. I'm just kind of. I should have wrote a lot of stuff down that I could share with y'all, but I've shared a lot of stuff with individuals here that You know, I know and trust people I go to church with and family. And ever since this started, I've been sharing stuff that I found. And like I tell them, I say, I'm gonna bounce this off of you. I want to bounce this off of you. Would I got one thing I'll share. Why would the bridges where he was killed, or supposedly killed, the blood stain was there, the bag was there. At that same bridge, they say only 2 girls was there. Mr. Henry Glaze right down the road is
Adamant.
Yeah, he's adamant. He's going around telling everybody that that's all was there. He told me at La Prairie Windshield Shop, every time I go to open my mouth, he said, the only people was there was your son, which is gone, and them 2 girls. And every time I open my mouth, he repeat himself. And I open my mouth again, he repeat himself. He was trying to drill it into me, I guess, but I go by facts. If I'm looking at this, if I wasn't gonna take their word for it, I wouldn't be wasting my time going out trying to find evidence. Okay? Now, why would there be a guy and a girl at them same bridges an hour before anything ever happened? An hour before Bubba and them even went to Samantha's house. What were they doing at the bridges an hour before? And I have no idea. I got some idea, but I have no logical explanation yet. Unless they was dropping off people to jump on him. They was gonna have a fight there, and they was dropping people off, setting a camera up. You know, all this went through, everything goes through my head now. I ain't dumb. Like I told the girl the other day when I talked to her, I ain't dumb. Talk to me like I got sense. And she kept on and on with the same story. And I told her to get out the damn truck. I don't want to hear no more of it. If you want to talk, we'll talk. But, you know, it comes to a point to where if you sit and listen to lies long enough, you'll start to believe them, but I won't. You know, I already got enough evidence in my mind, and that's what we all do. We walk every day and we judge, we even judge each step we take on how we take that step or we'll fall. We judge our everyday reactions, we judge people. And I have to judge on the evidence I see and the fruits I see coming forward. And get back at the point. I got an eyewitness that I hadn't got to tell the sheriff about. I'm sure he'll hear it now. This guy, I ain't gonna name his name, was coming from Polkville, headed that way. Well, he, as soon as they come around the curve, they seen a reflection. And headlights pop on. They had the headlights off. They was parked, not adjacent with the road, but like they was going off in the ditch. So when he got pulled up beside them, he asked if they needed help. One guy was way down in the ditch. The girl, which he knew from school as Samantha Goodson, was sitting in the driver's seat. And they said, oh, we're just looking for a cell phone we lost.
In the dark.
Yeah.
The lights on.
Well, I guess in the dark, I don't know if they had a cell phone, looking for a cell phone or what, but he didn't get to that point. I spoke with him at one time, and he's a potential witness. But anyway, he said he knew her from school, Samantha Goodson. He said, I didn't know the guy, 150 or 60 pounds, curly sandy hair, 5'8", 5'9", and logical explanation is that
Her boyfriend.
he described her boyfriend, which she lives with, at that address that I got arrested for going to. That's who lives with her there. Okay. Why would they be there an hour before anything happened? I still hadn't figured that out. I'm sure the sheriff hadn't figured it out either, because they don't share nothing with me except they figuring out how he fell, I guess. But he said the guy was acting nervous when he was supposedly looking for the cell phone. And they said they didn't need no help, so he went on. And I got other people like that that's come forward and said stuff. And a lot of different stuff. And I told Shanna the other day when she wanted to talk again that I know more than she thinks I know. I know more about her now than I ever did when she lived in the house upstairs with Bubba. For 6 months, yeah. It's all it took for her to take everything he had.
6 months.
And I know her so well that I told her, I said, I hope everybody gets what they deserve. Everybody responsible gets what they deserve, and then I hope they find Jesus in jail. And I do. I told you, I said, I don't hate nobody. And I truly do. One way or the other, they'll get their justice because God don't, God ain't gonna put up with it. But it'd be nice if we could just this was all be over in a week from now, and me and her could go and start mourning, because we ain't started yet. We cry every day and night, I promise you. I mean, some days you just could go down the road, you might just see a sign that reminds you of something. Anything can remind you of your child. You don't realize it until, and there is a such thing as when you lose a child, all the memories are, boom, way more vivid than what you had when you had that child. And I had a dream right after we buried Bubba. And then when he walked in, and most of my dreams are in gray, but this one's full color. And he walked in and said, "Where's Mama?" I said, "Where you been, boy?" And I said, he started walking to the bedroom, I said, "Don't go in there, you'll scare her to death, But it's all color. And the next day, somebody told my wife, said, "I seen him the day he died. He had that yellow shirt on and blue jeans." That's what he had on in the dream. I mean, he reveals himself in ways our spirit world, can't come in full contact with us, but that's what the Holy Spirit's for, to comfort us. And I might have needed that comfort at that time, but it's hard. I'm telling you, it's hard. And we ain't doing this to be whiners. We ain't doing this to not giving the law their chance to do something. What moves they've done, they've done in super slow-mo, I assure you. And if they got a problem, if from what I'm doing, they don't need to be in office. And that's my best opinion I can give you. It is opinion. Everybody's got their own, and when you go to vote on what you see from the fruits, what you see. And that's what God tells us to look for. That's how he tells us to judge each other. We can't just judge each other on, yeah, so-and-so done meth. A lot of people do meth. I've done meth. I've done it all. I told my kids I did it all. I told my kids it'll take all from you. There's a lot of people out there that once they mess up, be known as a lady of the night, or drugs, or just somebody that people just don't like in general because they are a sinner. But who did Jesus walk with? Who did Jesus hang around? The people who needed him. The saints didn't need him. They already headed that way. He was working on the people who needed him. And even though these girls, or whoever else responsible killed my son, they need him too. And I won't never get to see Bubba again if I don't, they already forgiven. They just got to go through their judgment. And I don't know if it's going to be here or there. But I won't stop looking until I leave here. Go ahead.
So I was thinking about what kind of person my brother was, and how he wanted to help Shanna Grace Goodson. He told me when I told him, I was like, you have to get away from her. She's not your person. She's not good. She's every bit of evil. And I told him this numerous of times. And he said, "Man, I'm just trying to help her out. I'm trying to make her a better person. I want her to be the person she's always wanted to be." And I was like, Bubba, you can't help everybody like that. Like, not everybody is going to have a heart like you do. And he was just bound and determined to help her. And if that don't say nothing about his persona, his heart, then I don't know what does. Like, he helped her until he couldn't help her anymore. And a few nights before he died, he helped the girl that ran over him. Her kids, he took them to the hospital.
No, we done found out that didn't happen.
That didn't happen?
That didn't happen. He would have. They carried somebody to the hospital, but
That
It
wasn't
wasn't
the
the
kids.
kids.
No,
We don't
it's-
know who it was. We heard of somebody.
But he had
we'll finish that up later. That's a whole different story. I forgot to tell you about that. Sometimes a lot of
Your
stuff
daddy, tell
get.
him about it then.
Well, I can't
No, we
speak
can't
on. I
talk,
can't
so
speak
we
on
can't
that, but
talk about that
I've
right
told
now.
a lot of people here that my son, that like she was fixing to say, did that, but I found out different. I was talking to another witness. He said, "Oh, it didn't happen like that. Let me fill you in." And he filled us in. One of the young sisters OD'd. And she wanted to OD because her best friend wanted to OD and kill herself.
So that's where they were at in the emergency room. He took her to the emergency room.
So he rushed
But
one of
either
the
way, He took
sisters.
somebody to the emergency room.
Yeah. I didn't want,
I was half right.
yeah, well, I didn't, we thought, we assumed because we was told that it was one of the younger children. But it was actually one of her sisters, I think.
It was
And
one of the younger sisters.
yeah, and it don't matter who it was. If they needed Bubba's shirt off his back and he knew they couldn't afford it and they was freezing dead, he'd give it to them. And you don't find a whole lot of people like that no more. You find more of them around here where we are. We more like it, but a lot of these kids here, and some of us grown-ups, don't even know what it's like in these big cities.